The alien transport ship shook as it landed on the red planet. Dust flew into the sky, covering the landing area like a smoke cloud. Inside the ship, 12 warriors stood tall, each one strong, tall, and covered in armor that looked like it was carved from mountains. And then there was him, the only human, the only one without fancy armor. His name was Ray. He stepped off the ship slowly, wearing a simple black uniform and carrying a backpack. He looked up at the tall aliens in front of him, all at least 2 heads taller than him. Some of them looked confused, others just laughed. But one voice was louder than the rest. "That's the new soldier?" The female alien commander said, laughing loud enough to shake her own team. Her name was Kara, a powerful warrior from the counter species, known for strength, size, and no patience for weakness. She looked down at Ray, crossed her arms, and tilted her head. "Did the humans send us a boy?" she asked, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Ray didn't say anything. He just dropped his bag, stood straight, and gave a calm salute. That only made them laugh harder. Even the captain, General Vox, tried to hide a smile. But Ray didn't flinch, he didn't smile, he didn't react. He just watched. The next day, their mission began. A basic recon trip through Sector 9, an area said to be quiet, empty and safe. They landed near a cracked valley filled with sharp rocks and purple moss. Kara walked ahead with 2 other warriors, ignoring Ray completely. He was ordered to walk at the back. Like cargo then, the ground shook, just once, but it was enough to stop everyone. "What was that?" one alien asked. Kara raised her weapon, scanning the rocks. The team formed a line, ready for attack. Ray slowly pulled a small scanner from his belt. It beeped once, then stopped. He narrowed his eyes, looking up at the tall rock walls. Nothing moved. The wind blew softly. Then the ground cracked open beneath them. A creature shot up from below, huge, covered in stone-like skin, with glowing green eyes and 4 arms. It roared with such power that the air trembled. The team fired their weapons, but the blasts bounced off. Kara shouted commands. "Spread out, hit from both sides." But the creature didn't care. It turned its head slowly, ignoring the big aliens. And then it looked at Ray. Ray didn't move. He just stared back. The creature roared again, and this time, it charged. The team panicked, firing nonstop. Kara jumped between the creature and her team, swinging her blade. But before she could hit it, the creature leaped right past her, straight toward the human. "Ray!" someone shouted. Kara turned, ready to scream at him to run. But Ray didn't run. He stepped forward, raised one hand and spoke in a calm voice. "Stop!" The creature froze mid-charge, its heavy body sliding against the rocks. Dust flew. Again, the valley silent. The massive beast stared at him, tilting its head like it recognized him. Kara's mouth dropped open. The team stood frozen, weapons still hot in their hands. Ray walked slowly toward the creature, his boots crunching on broken stone. He placed his hand on the creature's thick arm. It lowered its head and growled softly, almost respectful. Kara walked toward them slowly, her voice shaking. What are you?" Ray looked at her, still calm, still quiet. "Human," he said simply. Kara didn't laugh this time. No one did. The mission was canceled. They returned to base in silence. Everyone kept glancing at Ray like he was something new, something dangerous. Later that night, Kara stood outside his room. She watched him through the glass window as he cleaned his gear. She didn't knock, didn't enter. She just whispered to herself, "He's smaller than all of us," she said. But maybe, just maybe, he's not small at all. And for the first time in her life, Commander Kara wasn't sure who the real warrior was. Asterisk. The screaming didn't stop, not even after the transmission ended. Kara stood frozen, her eyes locked on the cracked hologram screen in the command tent. The rescue signal came from Sector 12, an area marked safe only last week. But the voice on the recording didn't sound like it came from a safe place. It was full of fear, of pain, and something else something that made even the bravest warriors feel cold inside. We were walking. Then the trees, they moved. It's not a jungle. It's alive. The message cut off with a loud, wet sound. Then silence. Ray stood beside Kara, holding his helmet in one hand. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. "I'm going," he said quietly. Kara looked at him and gave a small nod. "I'll lead the squad," she said, "but this time, stay close." They flew low over Sector 12 in a dark, silent dropship. Outside, the jungle stretched endlessly, green vines twisting around purple trees. The fog was thick, almost unnatural. It hugged the trees like a predator waiting to pounce. As soon as they landed, the squad moved fast, weapons ready, helmets locked, sensors active. But even with all their tech, there was no sound, no birds, no insects, no wind. Just a heavy silence. Kara pushed forward, slicing a thick vine out of the way. Behind her, Ray walked carefully, eyes scanning every branch, every shadow. One alien laughed nervously. Maybe the guy in the message went crazy. Another smirked. Maybe he saw his own reflection. But no one laughed for long. Suddenly a tree branch moved. Not because of wind, because it wanted to. It wrapped around the leg of the joking alien and yanked him upward. Nitrogen monoxide. Kara shouted, firing at the branch, but the vine pulled back, fast and smooth, dragging the soldier into the trees. No scream came, only a sharp snap. Ray grabbed Kara's shoulder and pointed. "The trees are watching," he said. She looked around and realized he was right. The vines were slowly shifting, opening paths or closing them, not randomly, like they were thinking. They moved in formation, surrounding them, herding them like cattle. Kara's heart raced. She had faced warlords, beasts, firestorms, but this was different. She was surrounded by something she couldn't fight. And for the first time, she felt small. Suddenly, she stumbled, her foot caught in a root. A thick vine shot toward her face. She raised her blade, but it was too fast. Then Ray stepped in front of her. The vine stopped. Inches from his chest. It didn't touch him. It recoiled, pulled back like a snake that had just seen a predator. Kara blinked, confused. The jungle feared him. "Ray," she whispered, "what are you?" He didn't answer. He just looked at the trees and said one word. The vines twitched, then slowly pulled away. A clear path opened ahead. The jungle itself obeyed. The team walked forward, too shocked to speak. Even Kara stayed quiet. They found the missing scout team, or what was left. Bodies wrapped in vines, eyes open in fear. But one soldier was alive, trapped inside a tree trunk. It opened. For Ray, like the jungle was giving him a gift. They carried the survivor back to the ship. The jungle did not stop them. It let them go. Back at base, Kara sat alone in her quarters. She replayed everything in her mind. Ray wasn't fast. He wasn't strong like the others, but the jungle itself had feared him. When he entered, it had whispered. When he spoke, it had listened. And when she had almost died, it had backed away from him. She thought about the words she once said. Too small for war, too human for command. Now she wasn't so sure. Maybe size wasn't power. Maybe fear was, and the jungle the living. The starship floated dead in space. No lights, no motion, no reply. Just silence. Ray stood inside the dropship with the rest of the squad, staring at the strange shape in the distance. It looked like a giant claw drifting in the dark, twisted, metal curling like frozen fingers. The ship had been missing for 12 years. Now suddenly, it sent out a beacon, no message, just a steady pulse, every 11 seconds. Like a heartbeat. Kara checked her wrist monitor. No heat signs, no power, no movement, she said. Then why the signal? Ray asked. No one answered. The silence was already working on them. Even before they arrived, it had begun. As they docked and entered the old vessel, the silence grew heavier. It wasn't just quiet, it was wrong. Their boots made no sound, even. Gun clicks, breathing, and footsteps, nothing echoed. It was like the ship swallowed every sound the moment it was made. "This place is cursed," one soldier whispered. Kara glared at him, but didn't correct him. She felt it too. Ray walked at the back, scanning everything carefully. He paused near a wall where writing had been scratched in. Not with paint, with fingernails. The words were in 4 alien languages, but they all said the same thing. "Don't." Speaker Ray placed his hand on the wall. It was cold, but pulsing like the ship was alive. They moved deeper, into the bridge. All systems were off, but the emergency beacon pulsed steadily. Kara tapped her helmet, trying to connect to base. Nothing. Even radio waves weren't getting out. Then it began. The doors slammed shut behind them. The lights flickered on, but only one color. Red. A low hum filled the air, but not through sound. They felt it in their bones. One soldier shouted something. No one heard him. His mouth moved, but no sound came out. Then Ray stepped forward and tapped his wrist monitor. He typed, "This ship has no echo because it listens." Kara frowned and typed back, "Listens to what?" Ray looked up. His lips didn't move, but in her mind she heard him, a whisper, soft and strange, like a memory not hers. "Pain." Suddenly, one of the soldiers screamed, but it wasn't from the ship. It came from inside his helmet, his own voice, playing back on loop, louder and louder. He dropped to the floor, clutching his head. Blood ran from his ears. Ray grabbed Kara and pulled her toward the command panel. "Let me try," he said. She didn't stop him. He placed both hands on the controls, closed his eyes, and said one word, "Remember." The ship lit up. Not like a machine, but like a mind waking up. Images flashed on the red screen, moments from the ship's past. A crew of 300, laughing, working, living. Then the silence came. One by one, they screamed and fell, but not because of war, not from outside. It came from inside, their own thoughts. Turned against them, voices, memories, guilt. The ship had absorbed them all, and now it was full. Kara backed away slowly, but Ray stayed still. He spoke again. Not out loud, just into the red light. "I'm not afraid," he said calmly. "I've lost more than you can show me." The ship paused. The hum stopped. The doors slowly opened. And for the first time, a single echo returned. One footstep raised. Kara looked at him as they walked back to the exit. She wanted to ask what he saw, what he heard, but something told her not to. Back at the dropship, the soldier who screamed was quiet now. His voice was gone. Forever. Ray sat at the edge of the seat, looking out into the stars. Kara finally asked, "Why did it listen to you?" Ray didn't turn. He just answered softly, "Because I listened to it first." She didn't laugh, didn't smile. She just nodded, slowly. Whatever this human was, he was more than a soldier, more than his size. And now, even ghost ships listened. When he spoke, it started with a smell. Not smoke, not blood, but something colder, deeper. Like metal mixed with ash, and something that made Kara's skin crawl. She was alone in the training yard that night, swinging her blade at a practice dummy, trying to clear her head. But then she smelled it. She turned, slowly. The sky above the base was clear, the ground silent, and then she heard a click, not mechanical. A claw against stone. Her hand reached for her weapon. Too late. The beast was already behind her. 12 hours earlier, the squad had returned from the ghost ship. Everyone was ordered to rest. But Kara didn't rest. She couldn't. The red light from that ship still danced in her head. And Ray's voice, so calm in the middle of chaos, kept echoing. She couldn't explain it. She was never afraid before, but now something felt different, like something inside her had cracked a little that night. She asked Ray to meet her outside. He was sharpening his knife quietly when she found him. The moonlight hit his face just right. It made him look older than he was. "You sleep?" she asked, arms crossed. "No," Ray said, not looking up. She hesitated. "Do you ever feel watched?" Ray finally met her eyes. "Yes," he said, "right now." Before she could answer, the alarms went off. Emergency sirens screamed. Lights blinked red across the camp. Soldiers ran in armor, shouting codes. But there was no attack on the wall, no bombs, no invaders, only one sound. A deep, guttural growl. Kari ran toward the control tower, barking orders. What happened? She demanded. A trembling technician turned to her. Ma'am, it's the same thing from Station A7, the predator we fought last cycle. That thing was killed, she said. No, ma'am, the tech whispered. It followed. US back. Kara froze. Her hand trembled slightly, only slightly, but she felt it. That same cold fear from Sector A7. The beast that nearly wiped her team. It was here. She ran outside. Eyes scanning the dark trees at the edge of base. Then she saw it. Two glowing eyes, tall as a dropship. It stepped into the moonlight, covered in shadow armor, claws as long as her arms, its mouth open, and it smiled. Kara stepped back. Just one step, her team formed a line behind her, but no one fired. Then, Ray walked out, no helmet, no rifle, just him, walking straight toward the creature. What are you doing? Kara shouted, but he didn't stop. The beast didn't growl, didn't charge, it just stared at Ray, like it remembered him. Kara's legs refused to move. Not from training, not from logic, but fear, real fear, deep primal fear she had. Never known. Ray stopped 5 steps from the creature. He said nothing, just stared. The beast tilted its head, then it lowered itself down on one knee, not in weakness, but like a soldier bowing before a commander. Gasps echoed through the base. Kara's mouth hung open. Then the beast stood again. It walked slowly right past Ray, and toward her. She stepped back again, hit a wall, trapped, her weapon slipped. The beast was inches from her now. Its hot breath brushed her skin. She didn't move, couldn't breathe. Ray walked behind it and placed a hand on its back. Stop, he said. The creature obeyed, turned, and walked away into the forest. No one stopped it, no one even moved. Kara slid down the wall, legs shaking. Her breath short, her pride gone. Ray knelt beside her. He didn't say anything, didn't mock her, didn't smile. She looked up at him, the smallest warrior in the base, and whispered, "You're not normal." "No," he replied, "but I'm on your side," and for the first time in her life. Kara wasn't the one protecting others. She was the one hiding. Ray didn't dream, not normally, but tonight something was different. He saw a red sky, saw towers of crystal breaking like glass. He stood in armor that wasn't his, holding a weapon he didn't recognize. He was in a war, not Earth's war. Theirs. He looked down and saw his hands too large, clawed, not human, and beside him stood Kara, not in her armor, but dressed like a queen. And then he woke up gasping, his heart racing, his shirt soaked in sweat. It wasn't a dream. It felt like a memory. But it couldn't be. He'd never seen those places. He'd never lived that war, had he? The next morning, the squad was called to explore a dead moon named Rivalon 9, a lifeless place filled with wrecked cities, old tech, and no known life. The locals called it the Grave of Thoughts. Kara didn't like the name. Ray didn't. Like the feeling, as they walked through the ruins, strange things began happening. One soldier stopped suddenly and whispered, "I just saw my brother." "But your brother's on Earth," Kara said. The soldier shook his head. "I know. But I swear he walked right past me." Another soldier cried out in fear. Said she saw her mother dying, not real, but too real to ignore. Kara felt it too, a memory tugging at her mind. A voice she hadn't heard in years, her father, long dead, whispering her name from the shadows. She looked at Ray, expecting confusion. But he stood still, frozen, his eyes wide, his body shaking. "What do you see?" She asked quietly. Ray spoke slowly, like his mouth didn't want to move. "A war." He turned to her, his voice hollow. "One I never lived. But I remember it." She walked toward him. He pointed to a broken tower. "I've been there," he said. "I was someone else. Someone like you." Kara's blood turned cold. "You were Kellner?" She whispered. He nodded slowly. I think I fought beside you. Kara stepped back. Impossible, she said. But she didn't believe her own words. Ray pulled a broken crystal from the ground. It pulsed in his hand, glowing faintly. Your people used these to store memories, he said. Kara stared at him. How do you know that? I don't, he answered, but my body does, later. They entered a chamber deep below the ruins. In the center was a giant stone throne, covered in carvings of war, of fire, and two figures, one tall and powerful, and one small, with light shining from his chest. Curry touched the carvings. These are over 2,000 years old, she whispered. Ray stared at the second figure. It's me, he said. I think I was one of you once. Kara's voice cracked. No, that's not how rebirth works. It's only a story, a belief. Ray looked at her. Then maybe I'm the proof. The room lit up suddenly. The crystal walls reflected hundreds of scenes, battles, leaders, explosions, and in each one, Ray stood among them, fighting, leading, dying, then starting again. Kara watched in silence. She had never believed in reincarnation, but now she wasn't sure. Maybe the human wasn't just new. Maybe he was. Returned, Ray walked toward the center of the chamber. A pedestal rose from the floor, holding a silver bracelet. He picked it up, and it clicked softly around his wrist. Suddenly, the room stopped glowing. It turned quiet again, not like before. Peaceful. Kara walked beside him. Do you know what that is? No, Ray said, but it fits. She looked at him, really looked this time. His calm under fire, the way beasts listened to him, how ancient tech responded to his touch. And now memories that weren't his filling his dreams. She placed a hand on his shoulder. You may be small in size, she said, but I think you've always been big in history. Ray gave a rare smile. No wonder they hate me, he whispered. They've fought me before. And she didn't laugh, not this time, because she was beginning to believe something impossible, something dangerous, something true, that this little human was not just one man, he was many, all returning. In one tiny body, the command tent was burning, not from fire, but from anger. 3 alien officers shouted over one another. Orders flew in different directions. Soldiers stood confused, frozen, waiting to know who to follow. General Vox, their leader, was gone, not dead, but unconscious, crushed under debris during the ambush on Moon Delta. He had been their voice, their chain of command, and now he was silent. Ray stood near the back wall, watching, not speaking. Kara stood in the middle, fists clenched, her voice sharp. We cannot retreat. Our injured are still in the field. Another officer shouted, without Vox, command is mine, and I say we fall back. Coward. Kara snapped. We don't leave our own behind, then. Someone said it, a sentence no one wanted to hear. If General Vox is down, someone has to take control. The silence that followed was loud. Everyone looked around. No one stepped forward. Then Kara spoke. Ray should lead. The room shook, not physically, but emotionally. Half the officers looked shocked. The other half looked offended. Lead? One growled. He's human. He's not even trained for command. Another spat. He's just a soldier. A small one. Ray didn't react. He didn't defend himself. Kara did. You've all seen what he's done, she said, voice low but firm. He led the jungle without orders, survived the echo ship, stopped a creature no one could face, and remembered a war older than all of us. But he's not one of us, someone whispered. Kara turned. He might be more than us. Ray finally stepped forward. He looked at the group, not with pride, but clarity. I'm not trying to take command, he said softly. But if no one here is ready to lead, I will. One of the officers laughed. Fine, then give an order, little man. Ray paused for just 2 seconds, then spoke. Send drones to Sector 3 for a flare test. Why? Because the enemy isn't where you think, he said. They've been baiting us to the east. How do you know that? I don't, Ray replied. But they think I do. The room stayed quiet. The officer sent the drones half out of curiosity, half out of spite. 10 minutes later, the feed came in. Enemy forces exactly where Ray said they'd be, hidden in canyons, waiting to ambush the main team. Gasps filled the room. Kara smiled. Just a little. Ray didn't celebrate. He gave his next order, calm and clean. Pull back Squad Delta, circle west, trap the canyon, no attack. An officer asked. No, Ray said. We catch them when they try to move. Why not crush them now? Because they're not the real danger, Ray said. They're just the first piece. Hours passed. Ray sat in the command chair, a seat meant for giants. He didn't fit it, but his voice filled the room. No shouting, no fear, only precision, only strategy. Kara watched from the side. She had commanded hundreds, but never like this. Ray wasn't born for war. He returned to it, a small human now. But something old sat behind his eyes, something ancient. When one officer questioned him again, Ray didn't argue. He simply pointed at a hologram. Do you want to win, or do you want to be in charge? He asked. The officer said nothing after that. At the end of the day, the battle had not started. But the base was ready. The plan was clear, and everyone had followed the smallest voice in the room. Kara walked beside him as he exited the command. Center, you didn't take control, she said. You became it. Ray looked up at the sky. I didn't want to, but you did it anyway, she said. That's the difference. Then she added softly, when General Vox wakes up, he may not get his seat back. Ray didn't respond, but Kara saw something new in him. Not pride, not power, something heavier like responsibility he never asked for, but now had to carry. And maybe that was why the universe feared him. The sky was falling, not in pieces, in flames. The alien mothership hovered above the battlefield like a burning moon, massive, cracked, bleeding metal from its sides. It had taken 3 fleets, 2 planets, and thousands of lives to stop it. And now, it was crashing straight toward the surface, right toward them. Evacuation alarms screamed across the base. Dropships lifted off like fireflies, carrying survivors. Everyone was leaving, everyone but him. Ray stood at the edge of the command tower, staring at the falling shadow above. He didn't move, didn't speak, didn't blink. Kara found him there. Her face bruised, armor cracked, one arm limp from a previous fight. You're not getting on the ship, she said, already knowing the answer. Ray shook his head. If that thing hits the surface, it'll crack the planet, he said calmly. Someone needs to go under it and trigger the gravity core, blow it mid-air. Kara's voice shook. You'll die. Ray didn't argue. He just gave a small nod. Kara took a shaky step forward. You saved my squad, she said. You saved me. More than once. Still, he didn't answer, not out of pride, but peace. I'll do it with you, she said suddenly. Ray turned sharply. No. You don't get to tell me no, she snapped. I'm the commander here. Ray's eyes softened. I need someone to lead after I'm gone. Kara clenched her jaw. I don't want to lead without you. The sky roared louder. The mothership cracked in two, falling faster now. You once said I was too small, Ray said. Kara looked down, shame flickering across her eyes. I remember, she whispered. And now look at me, he said. You're hiding behind me again. Kara's head dropped. I'm not hiding. Ray tilted his head. Then why are you crying? She reached up quickly, wiping her face. I'm not. But she was. Ray took her hand gently, placed something in her palm, a crystal glowing, ancient, pulsing with memories. The one from Rivalon, she whispered. Ray nodded. If I don't come back, you'll know where I've been. Kara looked at him like she was seeing the stars for the last time. You're not just a soldier, she said. No, Ray whispered. I'm the echo of 1,000. She stepped forward quickly and pulled him into a tight hug. Her arms wrapped fully around him, her armor scraping against his uniform. You're still small, she said, but I'd rather die behind you than live without you. Ray didn't hug her back, not at first. Then gently, carefully, he Did. Moments later, the dropship took off, only one person inside it, Kara. She watched from the sky as Ray ran into the storm of falling fire. She held the crystal to her chest, felt its warmth, felt him below. The world cracked. Light exploded across the clouds. The mothership shattered in midair, just as Ray said it would. Silence followed, then cheers, then reports. Planet saved, base secured, threat neutralized, but Kara didn't celebrate. Not yet. 3 weeks later, as repairs began and soldiers returned to normal life, Kara stayed quiet. She visited the crater every day, hoping, waiting. Then, one night, something moved in the ash, a figure, limping, covered in dust and fire scars, a familiar face, tired eyes, a small frame. Ray. She didn't run, she didn't scream. She walked slow and steady straight into him and punched him in the chest. "You idiot," she whispered. "You weren't supposed to make me care." Ray gave a tired smile. "But you did," she said. "And now you're stuck with me." He didn't argue, he just stood there, letting her speak, letting her stay. The base rebuilt, the team trained again, but the jokes stopped. No one laughed at Ray's size anymore. They followed him because legends didn't need to be tall. They just needed to stand. And in the galaxy's darkest moments, when even giants ran, they would always remember the one who stayed. The smallest one, the calmest one,